2025 SIC recap. Man, first race back in about 14 months, and it was a blast. Had a great time. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the thoughts of the track for the 2025 SIC. Man, I thought the track was killer. I thought Bobby and the crew did an awesome job. Track was technical, was nothing too crazy where it would like destroy a bunch of cars. The front double sections were a little bit on the big side, I would say, for maybe some of the sportsman guys, but overall, man, I thought the track was awesome. It was super, super fun. Had some really good corners, and especially on main day, track was pretty challenging, which that's what I really enjoy. I love a challenging track, and I really enjoyed the track on main day and really the whole weekend. So that was a big positive for me. Feel I had in practice was pretty good. You know, these new Tekno 2.2 cars, I'm still kind of getting used to everything, you know, especially like the -2 diffs with the lower front and rear axle. And, you know, with that, just like the setup's a little bit different on how we're running the cars. And I would say I was really happy with my feel straight off in practice, especially with the Nitro buggy. I have a lot more time with the Nitro buggy than I do the all the new parts for the Nitro Truggy. So my buggy was awesome right from the get-go. I don't think I made any changes at all in practice. Pretty much just like my baseline setup that I've been running. I've been messing around with my diffs a little bit, 3-gear, 4-gear. I actually ran 3-gear in all 3 diffs on both my cars all weekend. So I wasn't sure kind of where I would be on my diff setup. But yeah, I didn't change my Nitro buggy at all in practice. It felt killer. I started on white Bangkok Hot Race tires, ran those pretty much all practice, and they were killer. So for Truggy, my feel was like a little bit loose. My truck was just loose pretty much right from when I hit the track. And I started with basically like the ET 2.2 base setup just because I kind of have all like the new ET parts on my Nitro truck. So a lot of the changes were shock changes, trying to get it figured out. You know, moving some shock locations around. I started like outside hole in the front, inside hole in the rear, and was just kind of struggling with my shock feel. So that was pretty much my main changes in practice. And I ended up going middle, kind of like how I used to run my my old truck back in the day. But overall, into practice, I was really happy. I thought my lap times were good. I really enjoyed the track, and you know, I thought my speed was pretty good, and I was feeling comfortable out there. So yeah, moving into qualifying, you know, not really racing with these top guys in a while. I wasn't sure where I would fully stack up, so I was kind of excited to see where I was, and it went pretty good. You know, Q1 I had a really good run. In Nitro buggy, I got a 4. I was really fast in truck too, but I made a mistake somewhere. Q2, I kind of flip-flopped. I screwed up my Nitro buggy run and had a really good run in truck, fighting for the TQ with Mayfield. Ended up getting a second, but that was really enjoyable. I had a fast lap, which was cool too. You know, kind of throughout my whole career, I was never really known to get fast laps, so that was kind of fun to grab a really good fast lap in the qualifier. And then moving to Q3, I needed good runs in both, and I'd kind of been changing some things a little bit. So for Q2, I added a little bit of rear toe to my Nitro buggy because I did that to my Nitro truck, and I thought it was better. And then for Nitro buggy, I didn't like it at all. So I ended up just going back to how I'd had my car the whole time, you know, basically since I built the 2.2, which is like center dot out in the C and just center dot in the D. And I really like that feel. So I also switched to white Havana tires for Q3, and my feeling was awesome. Car was back to how it should be, and you know, had another good run, got a 4. So I had 2 4s to qualify fifth overall. And then in truck, I think I took the tow back out in truck as well. Can't remember if I just did that. No, I think I left the tow in truck actually, because I had made that change for Q2 and I had that really good run in Q2. So I was thinking I would kind of fight for the TQ in Q3 and just didn't really have the speed. A little bit of some driver error and just didn't quite have the speed I had in Q2. So I think I got like a 4 or a 5 or something like that, which, qualified 4th in truck, 5th in buggy, which I was really happy about. Then moving into the mains, the track was changing quite a bit, weather was changing quite a bit, and I knew I didn't need to make big changes. But for truck, I ended up going up in my rear diff oil just a little bit. And like I kind of previously said, I had the 3-gear set up in my diff. So I think I was running 20-20-12, and I ended up just going up to 15 in the rear. So pretty small change. And then I changed my rear toe to kind of go back to where I started. So single dot out in the C and center dot in the D. And then I changed my shock pistons around too. I was running the 20-hole VRP, and I kind of had them flip-flop like I did on the buggy with less pack in the front. So like one bigger hole in the front and then the 4 1.5 holes in the rear. And in truck, it just didn't work. I think that's what made my truck loose kind of the whole time. So I ended up switching those around and doing the 4 1.5s in the front, the 3 1.5s with the 1 1.6 in the rear, kind of getting the oil where it needed to be, putting the less toe in, going up in the rear diff, and man, my truck in the main was so good. I think I really had good speed as far as like my handling, but with these new Nova engines, I'm trying to learn the tune, and I just screwed up on the tune. I had my mid-range too rich, and we had a big weather change from Saturday into Sunday, and I just kind of messed up, just, nervous for my first 30-minute main on the engine, and just was a little too conservative on the box tune, and just the mid-range was super rich. But, had a decent race going, started 4th, was kind of right around that 3rd, 4th, 5th range, had some really good battles with some guys, but was lacking, just with the rich tune a little bit, and then just kind of nerves first main back. Had a couple crashes, dropped back to, I don't know, maybe 10th or something like that, was kind of slowly moving my way back, was, working my way towards that battle for 4th, 5th, and then just a really silly issue with the battery plug just barely coming out, and it was silly. It was an extension that kind of had like a built-in clip that I had ran for over a year in 2023 on both my cars. Never had an issue with it coming undone. Ran a gallon of practice before the race, and then ran all practice, all qualifiers, no issues. And of course in the main, the clip just barely popped up a little bit and the battery just slightly came undone. So I lost a bunch of laps. Wasn't really sure what happened, so got my car, went back to the pits, pulled the body off, saw the battery was just barely pulled out, like a millimeter or two. So it was kind of going in and out on the track, and I didn't want to hurt anybody or anything. So yeah, plugged that back in, leaned my mid-range like a half turn, and my engine felt so good when I got back out there. So that was definitely the problem that I had. And so yeah, learned some good stuff with that. Then moving to the buggy main, I, tuned my engine based off of what I learned for the truck main, and man, my buggy engine was ripping. It was tuned really, really good. The feel felt good. My mileage was great all week. Kind of looking back after, I think I could have probably pitted at 10 in buggy with the fuel that I had after my last pit stop, just kind of looking at it in the tank. And the fuel mileage was great. And, I thought my car was good. I didn't make any changes. So I had I think 15-15-8 in my diffs with the 3 gear, and I pulled my rear diff out, drained it, was gonna put 10 in the rear, and then was a little bit worried with the dusty conditions that maybe that rear diff would be too heavy, so I ended up just putting 8 back in it, and I think I could have ran 10 and it would have been fine, maybe a little bit easier to drive, like coming onto the front straightaway, some things like that. But honestly, my buggy felt great in the main. I ran white Havana tires. They were awesome. And yeah, I had a pretty good race. Unfortunately, I made a mistake before the first pit stop, maybe just a few laps in, running maybe like 4th, 5th range. Just caught a pipe all on my own, flipped over, dropped pretty far back, was coming through, and then my nerves were really high after that. So, had a couple of driver errors, and then kind of the whole rest of the race, I was in that 7-8 range, and just like, 1 or 2 bobbles away from kind of catching that 4th, 5th battle for the end of the podium. And yeah, that's kind of where I finished. Finished 7th. Had some really good battles with a couple of people, and it was enjoyable. First race back, I had a lot of fun. Didn't feel pressure on the track, and for me, that's kind of what it was all about. And learned some stuff with the cars, with the tires. Learned a ton this weekend with the engines, which was a really good, result for me. That was a big goal, was to learn these engines on a bigger track. The track didn't have a straightaway, so that kind of made it a little trickier to kind of understand the tuning. But overall, man, I had a great weekend, and yeah, can't wait to get back out there. And yeah, we'll see you guys at DNC.